Are you ready for another deep dive?
I am definitely ready.
Awesome. So you shared this text, Don't Quit, You Are Almost There. And wow, that title, I mean, just the title alone is super inspiring.
Like it really grabs you, doesn't it?
It does. And, it got me thinking a lot about perseverance and, how we can all kind of achieve those goals that we set for ourselves. And that's what we're going to dive into today.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too. So, the text actually starts by referencing Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah. I love that part.
It's such a classic example, right? But I feel like there's like a deeper layer to it that we don't always talk about. Like, everyone knows the quote, the 10,000 ways that didn't work. But what really struck me was how he, meticulously documented every single attempt.
Right. Like he wasn't just randomly trying things and hoping for the best.
Exactly. He was systematically analyzing his failures to, figure out what didn't work so he could eventually find what did.
It's almost like he treated failure as valuable data, which is, I think, a pretty powerful lesson.
Yeah. I mean, it really changes how we think about failure, right?
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it as this roadblock, it's like, okay, this is information, this is data.
Exactly.
It makes me wonder if we should all be keeping I don't know, a failure journal or something, writing down those things that didn't quite work out.
I like that idea.
Right. And, figuring out what we can learn from it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. The text also seems to be suggesting that this whole struggle before success thing is practically a universal law.
Yeah. It's not just an innocent thing.
Yeah, right. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look throughout history, right, and you see all these amazing people who accomplish these incredible things, and every single one of them, they all faced, major setbacks along the way.
Yeah, totally.
But what set them apart wasn't necessarily just their talent or their resources. It was this almost stubborn refusal to give up.
It's like that final stretch of a marathon, right? Where your body is just screaming at you to stop. But something inside of you, pushes you to keep going.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
And the text also talks about how, the final stretch is often the most challenging part of any endeavor, right? Any goal that we're trying to achieve, it's that last push that's the hardest.
It's so true.
It's almost like our brains are wired to prioritize that immediate comfort over those long-term rewards. Give up now, feel better now.
Yeah, our brains love the easy way out, don't they?
They do.
But, this is where the concept of mental resilience comes in, because it's not just about physical endurance, right?
Okay.
It's about, being able to withstand that psychological pressure and managing the self-doubt and maintaining your focus when things get tough. And research actually shows that this resilience, it's like a muscle, right?
Right.
And you can actually strengthen it through practice. So the more we face those challenges and overcome them, the better equipped we become to handle future adversity.
So it's like building up a mental callus almost. The more we expose ourselves to discomfort and kind of push through it, the tougher we become.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
But the text also seems to imply that there's a real danger in giving in too easily, particularly in that final stretch that we were talking about. What are some of the hidden costs of quitting, beyond just not achieving the immediate goal?
Well, the text talks about this quite a bit, actually. It argues that quitting, while, in the short term, it offers this temporary escape from the pressure.
Right, like that relief.
Yeah, exactly. But it often leads to this lingering sense of regret. It's that what-if question that can just, haunt you for years to come.
What if I just pushed a little further?
Right, exactly. What if I hadn't given up? On the other hand, persevering, even if we don't reach, the exact outcome that we had envisioned, it cultivates this deep sense of fulfillment. It's the pride of knowing that we didn't back down, we didn't give up, we gave it our best shot.
Right.
And that in itself can be incredibly empowering.
Totally. What's interesting to me is I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's not just about achieving these specific goals, but it's about developing this mindset, this way of approaching challenges that ultimately shapes our character. The text actually refers to this as the power of perseverance. But it sounds like it's, more than just a catchy phrase.
Yeah, it's a way of life.
It's a fundamental principle for personal growth, would you say?
Absolutely. I completely agree. And what's really remarkable is that the text doesn't shy away from acknowledging that this path to success, it's rarely a smooth linear journey. Like, it's going to be messy, that there are going to be setbacks, moments of doubt, maybe even times where you question, like, the validity of the goal itself.
Right.
But it's in these very moments when we're navigating those difficult stretches that we truly develop that mental resilience that we were talking about, and we discover our capacity for growth.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, like, are you saying that embracing the mess is actually part of the winning formula?
I think so, yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm really starting to get a sense of the depth of this whole don't quit message.
Mm.
It's not just about, like, blindly charging ahead, but it's about embracing the entire process, the ups and the downs, and understanding that they're all part of this larger transformation.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay. But hold on. The text also talks about something called the turning point.
Right.
And it says that most people quit right before reaching it. Can you explain a bit more about what that means?
Oh, yeah, that's where things get really interesting. And this is where Edison's approach becomes even more relevant, I think. Imagine him in his lab, right? Meticulously documenting attempt after attempt. And to everyone else, it might have just seemed like a series of failures. But each one was bringing him closer to understanding what worked and what didn't. And that turning point, it's often shrouded in uncertainty. It's hidden behind a veil of frustration and self-doubt.
So it's not always obvious when it's happening.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that it's not necessarily a lack of ability or even effort that causes people to quit, but a lack of clarity, like a failure to see the progress they've already made and that potential breakthrough that lies just ahead?
Yeah, exactly. It's like being lost in the woods and you give up just moments before stumbling onto the trail that leads you out.
What a frustrating thought. But surely the text offers some guidance on how to avoid falling into this trap, right?
Oh, it absolutely does. And it's surprisingly practical, too.
Okay, good. I was hoping you'd say that. I mean, what's the point of all this if we don't have any, like, actionable takeaways, right?
Right, exactly. So one key suggestion is to break down those large, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps. This not only makes the journey seem less daunting, but it also allows for celebrating those small victories along the way.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Celebrating those small wins could be incredibly powerful, can't they?
They can be huge motivators. They remind us that we are making progress even when it feels slow or insignificant.
Right. Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up in, like, the enormity of the end goal that we forget to acknowledge and appreciate all those smaller steps that get
So
us there.
it's all about perspective.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So celebrating those small wins, that could be a game changer. Okay. Are there any other, like, nuggets of wisdom in the text about navigating this turning point and avoiding that temptation to quit prematurely?
Definitely. There are a couple more that I found really helpful. First, the text emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with a supportive network of people who believe in you and your vision.
Okay.
Their encouragement and their perspective can be invaluable when that self-doubt creeps in.
Right, like having those cheerleaders on the sidelines.
Yeah, exactly. And secondly, it reminds us to regularly reconnect with our why. Like, why are we doing this in the first place?
Right.
That underlying reason that we embarked on this journey in the first place, tapping back into that passion and purpose, that can really fuel our motivation and help us weather those inevitable storms along the way.
It's about remembering that initial spark, right? Like that driving force that propelled us to take that first step.
Yeah, because sometimes we get so caught up in the mechanics of achieving the goal that we lose sight of the heart of it all.
That makes so much sense. And reconnecting with that deeper purpose,
Yeah.
that can be, like, incredibly inspiring,
Okay.
right? And motivating. This whole message of hope, it's starting to feel less like a vague concept and more like a roadmap
Yeah.
for navigating those inevitable ups and downs of any, like, meaningful pursuit.
Absolutely. It's a journey of self-discovery as much as it is about achieving a specific outcome.
Yeah. And it's not just about reaching the destination. It's about embracing the entire journey with all its twists and turns. That's really powerful stuff. What are your final thoughts on this before we move on to the last part of the text?
Well, I think the text really shines a light on the power of perseverance. It's not just about achieving goals. It's about developing resilience, discovering our inner strength, and ultimately becoming the best version of ourselves. And I really appreciate that it acknowledges that the journey will be challenging. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and temptations to quit. But if we can embrace those challenges as opportunities for growth, remember our why, and surround ourselves with support, we can not only achieve our goals, but also emerge from the process as stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled individuals.
So true. So are we ready to move on to the final part of this deep dive?
I think so. I'm ready to hear what other insights we can uncover.
Me too. Let's keep going.
So this message of hope that the text talks about, it really resonated with me. It's kind of about acknowledging that the path to success, to actually achieving those goals we've been talking about, it's rarely, a straight line.
Okay.
It's going to be messy. There's going to be detours, unexpected obstacles, moments where you question everything.
So it's not just about like gritting our teeth and pushing forward blindly.
Yeah.
There's a deeper layer to it. I have to admit, sometimes I get so focused on reaching that uh, destination that I kind of forget to like appreciate the journey itself.
Exactly. And that's what makes this message so powerful, I think. It reframes struggle not as like a sign of weakness or failure, but
Right.
as a necessary ingredient for growth. All those challenges that we face, they're actually opportunities to learn and adapt and become more resilient.
It's like that saying, smooth seas don't make skilled sailors, right?
Mhm.
Like we need those rough waters, those moments of uncertainty to really develop our abilities and kind of discover our inner strength. This whole message of hope is starting to sound a lot like a call to, embrace the entire process, even the messy parts.
It is. It really is. The text argues that by persevering through those tough times, we actually develop qualities that are essential for achieving success and maybe even more importantly, becoming the best versions of ourselves. It's not just about the what of reaching the goal, but the who we become along the way.
Whoa, that's a powerful distinction. It's not just about the destination, but the transformation that we undergo during the journey. When we were talking about Edison earlier, I was really struck by how his approach wasn't just about like finding a solution. It was about, constantly refining his understanding of the problem.
Mhm.
And each failure actually brought him closer to the truth. So maybe that's part of what this message of hope is getting at, right? Like
Yeah.
it's about trusting that the struggles, the detours, they're all contributing to a larger picture, even if we can't see it clearly in the moment.
I love that insight. And the text actually takes it even further. It suggests that this whole don't quit idea, it's not just like a motivational phrase. It's almost like a promise.
Oh, wow.
A promise that if you refuse to give up, if you keep learning and adapting and pushing forward, that success will eventually find you.
I love that. So it's not about guaranteeing a specific outcome, but it's about trusting in the process, believing that if we just keep showing up and putting in the effort, that something amazing will emerge on the other side.
Mm.
But can I be real for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about persevering through challenges. But, what about those times when it feels like we're, putting in the work and still not seeing those results? How do we know when to keep pushing and when to maybe reevaluate our goals or strategies?
Yeah, that's a really important question, and one that the text actually addresses um, with a lot of wisdom, I think. It acknowledges that there will be moments of doubt, times when we question if we're even on the right path at all,
Right. Yeah.
and it's human nature to want to see those immediate results.
Right.
And when they don't appear, it's easy to get discouraged.
Yeah.
But the text reminds us that often we're closer to achieving our goals than we think. And it's in those moments of like near despair that this don't quit message becomes the most crucial. Oh, wow. It's like that feeling of being just one step away from a breakthrough, but not being able to see it because we're just so focused on those immediate obstacles.
Exactly. We can't see the forest for the trees.
Right. I'm starting to understand why the text calls this a message of hope. It's about holding on to that belief, that faith in ourselves and that faith in the process, even when the evidence seems to suggest otherwise.
Yes, it's about trusting the journey,
Yeah.
even when we can't see the destination clearly. And the text, it doesn't just leave us hanging with these vague platitudes.
Okay.
It actually offers some really practical advice for how to navigate those moments of uncertainty. And remember how we talked about breaking down large goals into smaller steps?
Yeah.
Well, the text suggests that this is particularly important when we're feeling discouraged. By focusing on those smaller wins, we can kind of regain a sense of momentum and remind ourselves that we're actually making progress, even if it's not always, immediately apparent.
It's about shifting our perspective, right?
Exactly. Focusing on what we can control and celebrating those small victories that often go unnoticed. That's a really tangible takeaway. So what other advice does the text offer for staying the course when the going gets tough?
Well, it reminds us that that we're not in this alone. Remember the importance of surrounding ourselves with those supportive people. Well, those people can play a really crucial role in helping us stay motivated when we're struggling.
Yeah.
Their encouragement, their belief in us, it can provide that boost that we need to just push through those challenging moments.
It's about tapping into the power of community, right?
Yeah.
Remembering that we don't have to go through this alone. There's strength in numbers, and sometimes all it takes is a kind word or a different perspective to help us see that light at the end of the tunnel. Are there any other strategies that the text suggests for navigating those times when we're so tempted to just throw in the towel?
Yeah, one of the most powerful and perhaps overlooked pieces of advice is to regularly reconnect with our why. Remember how we talked about the importance of understanding our motivation, the deeper purpose behind our goals? Well, the text emphasizes that this isn't just a one-time exercise. It's something we need to revisit regularly, especially when we're feeling discouraged or lost. And by reminding ourselves why we embarked on this journey in the first place, we can kind of reignite that passion and find the strength to keep moving forward.
It's about remembering that initial spark, right? That driving force that propelled us to take that first step. Sometimes we get so caught up in the mechanics of achieving a goal that we lose sight of the heart of it all, and reconnecting with that deeper purpose, that can be incredibly inspiring, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
And motivating. This message of hope, it's starting to feel less like a vague concept and more like a roadmap for uh, navigating those inevitable ups and downs of any like meaningful pursuit.
Yeah.
It's not just about reaching the destination, but embracing the entire journey with all its twists and turns. What are your final thoughts on this before we move on to the last part of the text?
I think the text really does a brilliant job of highlighting the transformative power of perseverance. It's not just about achieving goals, but about developing resilience, discovering our inner strength, and ultimately becoming the best versions of ourselves. And I love how it acknowledges that this journey will be challenging, you know?
Yeah.
There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and temptations to quit. But by embracing those challenges as opportunities for growth, by remembering our why and surrounding ourselves with support, we can not only achieve our goals, but also emerge from the process as stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled individuals. So, are you ready to explore the final piece of this insightful text?
Absolutely. I'm really eager to hear what other gems of wisdom it holds. Let's continue our deep dive. You know, as we've been talking about this "Don't Quit" message, I've been thinking about some of my own experiences, and there have been times when I've come so close to giving up on something, and then later I realized I was actually just steps away from a breakthrough. It makes me wonder if that's something that happens to a lot of people. Like, do we often underestimate how close we are to actually achieving our goals?
I think that's a really great question, and the text actually addresses this in a way that I found really comforting. It reminds us that the path to success, it's rarely ever a straight line. There are going to be detours and unexpected challenges and moments where we question everything, and it's often in those moments when we're feeling the most discouraged that the breakthrough is actually the closest. It's almost like we're standing right in front of the door, but we've somehow convinced ourselves that it's locked.
Yeah, it's so easy to just get caught up in the, I don't know, in those immediate obstacles, right, and lose sight of that bigger picture. But what I find really encouraging about this whole text is that it doesn't just, point out the challenges. It also offers these practical strategies for how we can actually overcome them.
Yeah.
Remember, we talked about breaking down large goals into those smaller steps and
Yeah.
celebrating those small victories and surrounding ourselves with, people who support us.
Yeah.
Well, the text presents these strategies not just as, motivational tips, but as like essential tools for navigating the inevitable ups and downs of, really any meaningful pursuit.
And it goes even deeper than that, I think. The text suggests that the journey itself, with all of its challenges and triumphs, is actually shaping us into the people that we're meant to be. So it's not just about reaching the destination, it's about that transformation that we undergo along the way.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, too. I've often found that the most rewarding experiences, the ones that have had the most profound impact on my life, have also been the most challenging ones. It's like those obstacles, those moments of struggle were forcing me to grow and adapt, to tap into reserves of strength and resilience I didn't even know I had.
Right, exactly. And that's where this don't quit message becomes more than just a motivational phrase. It almost becomes a philosophy for living a more fulfilling life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, understanding that setbacks, they're not failures, they're stepping stones, and trusting that if we just keep moving forward, even when it's hard, we will eventually reach our destination, transformed by the journey.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. We've explored the importance of perseverance and the power of mental resilience and uh, the hidden costs of quitting and the transformative nature of challenges. It's amazing how, like a simple phrase, "don't quit," can encompass so much wisdom and offer such profound guidance for navigating the complexities of life.
It really is. And I think the most important takeaway here is that this message, it's for everyone. It doesn't matter what goals we're striving for, what challenges we're facing. Within each of us, there's that potential for greatness, the resilience to overcome adversity, and the power to actually achieve our dreams. But it's a power that we have to choose to activate, a choice we make every single time we face a setback and decide to keep going.
So true. So, for anyone listening who might be feeling discouraged right now, remember this: you are not alone. Struggle is a part of the process, and perseverance is the key to unlocking your full potential. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams.
And never forget, you're probably closer than you think to achieving what you set out to do. So keep learning, keep growing, keep pushing forward. The world needs your unique talents and contributions.
What a powerful message to end on. To everyone listening, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep believing in yourself. And remember, don't quit. Until next time.